What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Total Average Gamer here, back with another video. Today we are finally starting our podcast. To the left of me, I have my buddy Frank, and to the bottom of me, I have my buddy Jason. We are here doing a wrestling podcast. It'll be called the 3 Count Podcast. And the reason why that is because we're going to be going over 3 major topics every podcast. We're going to try to keep it once a week, but if something really interesting comes out, maybe we'll just do a random one, during a special occasion. Also, how I've been doing the reviews on SmackDown and Raw, we will together be doing reviews on premium live events. But to get started, the 3 topics we have today is Triple H doing good since he took over the business? Also, number 2 is going to be dominant eras in WWE and how they compare to today. Number 3 will be, will the Bloodline collapse? And if it will, how will it? So let's get started. We're going to start off on our first topic. Is Triple H doing good since he took over the business? And I'm going to let my buddy Frank start off with his thoughts. Frank, what do you think?
So is Triple H doing good? Honestly, really, from what I've been watching, great job so far. Very, very good. I love the way he's bringing the storylines and all the superstars together again. Now, don't get me wrong, Vince McMahon did a great job throughout the years. He did a fantastic job. I'd say up until 2015 and 16, it started going downhill. But the problem was he had new superstars that nobody cared about, releasing a lot of great superstars that everyone cared about.
Including Bray Wyatt being one of them, and Braun Strowman, and insane.
Exactly. But him handing over the business to Triple H, I think, was a great idea. Wrestling is on the run again, and I can't wait to see where we're heading with Triple H. Honestly, I think he's been doing a fantastic job. He's bringing back Bray Wyatt. He brought him back. He's bringing back the basically the ruthless aggression era. He's bringing it back, and it's going good so far.
For sure.
The way he's handling it with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, holding everything up, how they have their perfect storyline. What he's doing with Judgment Day is fantastic. I love that too.
Yes.
I mean, he could do a little bit more with it because I don't like the way Dominic Mysterio's been.
Oh yeah, same.
But honestly, I think he's doing a fantastic job so far. There's nothing I could be mad about.
And my cousin Jason, do you have anything to add on the topic of is Triple H doing good?
Yeah, I just think he needs to do a couple things, like make Bray Wyatt fight, or like tell us who's Uncle Howdy, because we got nothing, and he's been in WWE since what, like 2 months already?
Yeah.
And he brought back a lot of useless people too. We didn't need Hit Row back. A couple other people. We didn't need those guys back. If you want the truth.
True.
The thing is with Hit Row, they was in that triple threat tag team match last night, correct? They won.
Yes.
No, they lost.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm talking
they
about
lost. Yeah.
Viking Raiders. Viking Raiders
won. The Viking Raiders. No, Viking Raiders never won.
That was Legado del Fantasma won.
Oh, okay. The Viking Raiders won.
No, I think it was Hit Row that won, guys.
No.
I'm more than sure he was the one that won.
No,
his partner came back in.
I seen a video that they lost.
I'm not too sure, but I'm not a really big fan of them at all.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. They're useless.
That big guy, what's his name?
Dame Dollar Waterstone.
Top Dollar.
Yeah, top Dollar. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him at all. Very sloppy work. It was actually very funny seeing him try to jump over that.
He got injured from that, you know. He got injured from that.
He hurt his leg. He's doing good. It's not like they won't be putting him on the back burner or anything. He's still gonna wrestle, but he got pretty banged up.
I was just about to ask that because I know that they have a match next week with the Usos.
They don't have a match next week with the Usos, do they?
Yes, they did actually. Yeah.
Wow, that's weird.
So then that means they won last night because that was the match. It was a triple threat to see who wins to go against the Usos next week for the
You're right.
For the championship.
Yeah. And what I would say on the whole Triple H thing is this. I was still watching while Vince McMahon was in office, right? And then you heard the news about Vince McMahon, and you see how that like changed the wrestlers' perspectives, because they was like fighting with, we don't know if we're gonna be fighting for long. We don't know what's going to happen next. And then after all the allegations, and then here comes Triple H, Vince McMahon steps down. Literally, the first 5 minutes of Raw, you've seen a major difference. Here comes Kevin Owens storming out of the locker room, excited, can't wait to fight for Triple H. Here comes, whoever was on that episode of Raw, and they were so excited. And they have this new potential now, because all this time, people like Kevin Owens, people like Sami Zayn, like them that were fighting for Vince McMahon's WWE.
They meant nothing already.
Look how serious Vince McMahon took, look how he didn't take anything serious. That a random guy, Austin Theory, came out and won the Money in the Bank contract before he stepped down. So it's like after all this work they put in, after all this, big business, after all this, like even someone like Drew McIntyre, we have to put into effect what happened during COVID. Because during COVID, a lot of these people, like Seth Rollins, like what's his name, Kevin Owens, like people like that, these people were really, really working. You understand what I mean? They really were going at it, and they gave their lives on the line. They put their lives on the line to work for this company, and then Vince McMahon was just like throwing it in the water. So I could only I could only imagine how that felt for them to be treated the way that they were with Vince McMahon. So to now look at the excitement when Triple H stepped in. Because you know why? Triple H is the kind of guy that will listen to you.
Right.
What Triple H said when he first took over the company in his interview. So when he first took over the company, he was in an interview. And in the interview, he was talking about Bray Wyatt. And during that interview, he was saying how Bray Wyatt has this amazing mind. And before he was released, Triple H was just sitting down with him, and he was just telling Triple H all his ideas. I want to do this, I want to do that, I have this character, I have that character. Right. And Triple H was saying, like, he was so interesting, his things were so amazing, and then he would just stop, and bring a different character about. Then he would stop and bring a different character about. So what Triple H did was he took all of those characters and made one. You understand what I mean? So look how he heard, he's seen exactly what Bray Wyatt wanted to do, and he made them all one big thing. You understand? Which I really believe we're going to see the Wyatt Six because of that. We already got Bray, we got Uncle Howdy, we already see a few shades of The Fiend because we see the background freaking out and we see a couple pictures of him. We see what's going on with Alexa Bliss becoming Sister Abigail again. You understand? So that's already 4. There's only 2 more to go. So exactly. We already see that happening. So with that being said, just that alone, just the storyline of Bray Wyatt alone, he's been doing amazing. And like like Jason was saying about Bray Wyatt was that, we haven't seen him fight. We haven't seen him, the storyline's kind of long, but I love that. I personally think that's a fantastic decision because we haven't seen him fight. You understand what I mean? Like, he literally just got trashed in the ring by LA Knight without saying a word, without moving, without doing anything. All you've been doing is just walking out to the ring or just talking backstage. And I like that because they're adding so much hype. And now I can't wait to see him in the ring. It's been a long time since WWE had compelling stories. And we're finally getting them. Listen, that whole scene in War Games with Sami Zayn, that felt like I was watching a movie.
Yeah.
I've never was that excited in a WWE match to be like, oh my goodness. Like, yes, don't get me wrong. The era I grew up in was way better, but the stories weren't. You understand what I mean? The stories wasn't all that hyping and all that amazing stories. It was more like, hey, I don't like you, I'm going to fight you. You understand? It was more like that. Right. And then now they're making more compelling stories, which we're going to talk about later. These amazing stories came out of a thing called the reality era. And that's when we started seeing better storylines in WWE.
Exactly.
But with that being said, there is a major difference for sure. And I wanted to ask a few questions I have written down here. And like I said, like you guys also said, let's get back to that real quick. He made a lot of good decisions, but Matt, he made a lot of bad decisions too. Taking the belt off of Liv Morgan to give it to Ronda Rousey again for no reason. making Liv Morgan a tag team partner with what's her name?
Tegan Fox, something like that.
Yeah. Tegan Knox.
She's
Tegan
a
Knox.
waste too. She should never be signed to.
Exactly. So
I don't even know who that is till 2 weeks
she's
ago.
a big NXT star. She's the one that Dakota Kai turned her back on in
I don't even know.
in War Games NXT. But anyways, so the problem is, like you guys are saying, a lot of random signings. And don't get me wrong, listen, you guys said you guys don't like Hit Row. I totally disagree. I love Hit Row. I love Top Dollar. I love Avante Leodonis, B-Fab. You know, I think they're a great tag team. But after what happened just now, that really poor performance in them, I don't think we're going to be seeing them anymore. I'll be honest. I think this is the point where Triple H is going to be in a corner where he's like, okay, I can't sign everybody. Because I'll tell you the truth. This is why I stopped watching AEW completely. Because of the too many signings. Because one week you're watching, oh my God, here comes Daniel Bryan. The next episode later, here comes CM Punk. The next episode later, here comes what's his name? Keith Lee. The next episode later, and then now they have all these big, amazing stars, but you never see them.
You guys go watch Dark. Their main superstars are on Dark sometimes.
Yes.
Fighting.
Yes.
It's like stupid.
It makes no sense. Their stories are terrible. Their matches are fantastic, the best ever. There's not a match you could sit down in AEW and say like, oh, this is a boring match. No. Every match is fantastic. The matches are way better than WWE, don't get me wrong. But their stories and their production and their work is just like, they need to calm down. You know, Tony Khan is just like, I can get all the best top stars. Okay, but you're not making them be the top stars who they were. The reason why you signed them in the first place. You understand? Like, we haven't seen Daniel Bryan be an underdog anymore. He became a big star, and now he's like you're going against Daniel Bryan. He's meant to be an underdog.
Right.
You know, Shawn Michaels, his whole career was an underdog. So we can't say, yeah, well, he did move up in the ranks. No. Shawn Michaels was always the underdog in his career. Rey Mysterio was always the underdog in his career. So we can't just have these people that were underdogs be made big stars. You understand? But back to the main topic with Triple H. A few questions I had here, and we'll go over them. The first one, which I'll answer myself, is will Attitude Era ever make a return? And for myself, I don't think so. I personally don't think so. It's way past that point. They don't need it. You understand? Just now, Survivor Series War Games, Frank, just now, is the most watched WWE pay-per-view in history. So why would they need to step up the game that much to bring in a Attitude Era when they don't have to? And what is the problem? Why can't they bring back an Attitude Era? Because, you know, USA and Fox are much bigger channels than Spike and TNN and all these random TNT, all these, providers.
Things that allow that. Yeah.
Yeah, because they allow that. But
they allow that.
USA and Fox are much bigger networks. You know,
Fox is number one.
Exactly. And Fox will not allow it. And USA will not allow it. It got to the point that Brock Lesnar said ass. Literally, he said ass too many times. So USA was like, okay, you know what? You're going to have to start marking this as a TV 14 show and get off our network. You understand? So they're very strict. They don't want it. But
you know how much money they lose too because they do that? You know how much ads?
Oh, yeah. So many ads, so many things, sponsorships. And a lot of people won't allow their children to watch it. You know, we never had that issue. Our parents themselves watch it. But, you know, a lot of people won't let their children watch it because of those reasons. And another big factor in the Attitude Era, Frank, was all the weapons and all the bloodshed. But you know what? There's thousands and thousands of lawsuits because of blood and because of weapons used.
Right.
So I don't think they'll ever bring back, you know, an overdone Extreme Rules match. They'll never bring back a chair headshot because it made people go insane. The blood hurts people, and you know some people got tetanus because of it. Exactly.
It's called CTE.
Yes. So I don't think we'll ever go back to an Attitude Era, but I do think the era we're going in now is about to be pretty cool. Any things you want to add on to that, Frank?
Yes. The one thing that I could say that I do not like that what they've done, well, not Triple H, but Vince McMahon himself. Yes, like you were saying, don't get me wrong, the USA and the Fox networks are big brands. Obviously, they're number one. Uh, what you were saying about the Attitude Era, how we're never going to see the chair shots to the head, how we're not going to see the blood or anything like that anymore. Honestly, I'm not a fan of that at all. I want to see that. It's wrestling. I
I
mean,
agree. I agree.
you want to see how much they bleed. You want to see how many times they could get hit with a kendo stick, or how if you remember when Mick Foley and Randy Orton went against each other, how they put the thumbtacks on the floor with the barbed wire bat and all that. You want to see all those things, but they have to stop it just because of USA and Fox. I understand they want to be on there because they are number one, but I mean, we could try and do something about it because they even stopped it even into the games. You see that you got to go into the settings yourself and put on to the blood and all that.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I understand it's not right for kids, uh, but I mean, it was just so different when we was growing up watching all this. It
Yes, it
was
was.
yeah, we seen all the blood, all the gore, but it was fun to see that. Am I saying it's fun to see people hurt? No, but I mean, if you're watching a wrestling show, if you're watching a movie of people fighting, if it's about fighting, you're expected to see blood.
Oh yeah.
That's what I expect when I watch wrestling. Like if you watch UFC, you're either seeing an arm being broken,
Oh
you're
yeah.
seeing a leg
Someone
broke,
getting knocked
a
out,
broken nose, someone getting knocked out. Exactly. There was a
a
boxer.
submission. You're expecting something.
Right, right. There was a boxer a while ago. I forgot his name. He was one of the best, and I want to say if it wasn't for the padding, no, it wasn't that one. It was about he got hit too many times in the back of the head, and it caused so much blood on the brain that he went paralyzed.
Oh yeah.
His name is like Ricardo something. I know you're
Yeah.
talking about.
I know what you're talking about
Yeah.
too.
But I mean, you expect that because you're fighting. You're not going to sit there and play tea house with your daughter. You're going to in a ring. You're going to fight someone that's either stronger than you or you're stronger than them. You're expecting to either
Exactly.
whip their ass or they're gonna whip your ass. It's either way. I'm sorry. That's just what I think about it. But I mean, the era that we are going in, I do agree with you. I think it is going to be very, very good. I know they're not going to bring that back, but I mean, I hope they do. That's all I can say.
I agree. And something like you were saying, what my thoughts were and what Vince McMahon, well, not Vince McMahon, I'm sorry, Triple H, what he actually said about this situation. He said, like, do we need blood? Do we need chair shots to the head? Do we need people that we love and that we're cheering on TV to get a blade and slice their forehead open? And look,
Right.
I agree. I totally agree. But every time we see them do this with the blood and everything, you see backstage, they love doing it. Mick Foley loved getting destroyed in the ring. He loved getting thrown off the top of the Hell in a Cell. So I'll be honest. If I was to sign a contract to be a WWE superstar, oh man, give me all the blades you got.
Yeah, but
I
here's the
want to
other thing
have a lot of
too.
blood and stuff.
Here's the other thing too. Now when someone bleeds, it's a big deal now in WWE. But now when you look at AEW, every match someone's bleeding. It's not that big of a deal. That's the thing.
Exactly.
If you bleed
Exactly.
every wrestling match you have, it's not that serious.
My opinion on the blood, and we'll all three give our opinions real quick. My opinion on the blood, it's not needed. There's no reason for it. It's cool to see sometimes when it's genuine, but when it's not genuine and it's just, cut your forehead open, don't need it. Not needed at all. Frank, what is your decision on that?
I want blood.
Okay, so we got
No,
one yes,
really,
one
really,
no.
really. Um, is it needed? No. Would we like to see it every now and then? Yes. The reason why I say every now and then yes is because you can make it more exciting in a way that in the middle of the match you just see blood just dripping from their face onto the mat and no one knows that they were bleeding until they get up and half of their face is just like dripping with blood. I'd love to see that every now and then. It
I
doesn't have
agree.
to be every match like
I
the way
agree.
Alright.
AEW is. But every now and then, it doesn't even have to be on a normal weekly televised show. It could
Be on a
at
pay-per-view.
at a pay-per-view when
And
it's a
not
pay per
every pay
view
per
of
view either.
exactly Extreme Rules. I'm sorry, there needs to be blood at least on
It don't
Extreme
need to
Rules.
be
Let's
I
be
at
agree.
a.
I agree.
It don't need to be at like a clash at a castle. It don't need to be blood on that pay per view.
exactly, but like the TLCs,
Yeah,
the Extreme
Extreme
Rules,
Rules, Hell in a
anything
Cell.
that you have to use a weapon for,
Oh
or
yeah,
you're in in an endangered area in your fighting area, I'd say there should be some kind of blood there.
I agree. And how do
So
you have
so
anything
I'm
you
a
want to
yes and
Yeah,
no.
add on to that?
no, 100% agree with that.
Okay, so I say it's completely useless. We don't need it. You guys say that we need it in certain matches, which I kind of agree with also. Speaking of certain matches, okay, something that Triple H did that I love a lot. The first pay per view we've seen, or if you want to call premium live event, we've seen with Triple H in charge was Extreme Rules. And every match in the Extreme Rules pay per view was a different match type. We had an I Quit match, we had a ladder match, we had a
Yeah,
tables match, we had an Extreme Rules match, we had a Falls Count Anywhere match. We had many different kinds of matches. And that's what I love. You see, Triple H said when he, took over the business and they was asking him about all of these different pay-per-views and stuff, he was saying, like, the pay-per-views that you can't challenge anybody to, he's gonna, keep in. So with the premium live events, he was saying any pay-per-view, any match you can't challenge somebody to will stay. But when it comes to like a Hell in a Cell, like, look, I can not me, I'm not a WWE superstar, but like Randy Orton can come out tomorrow and be like, "Hey, Seth Rollins, I challenge you to a Hell in a Cell match." It makes sense.
Right.
So we don't need a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view in order for them to have Hell in a Cell matches. And then we don't need what we do need actually. You see, Kevin Owens can't come out and like, "Hey, Matt Riddle, I challenge you and seven other men to a Money in the Bank match." It makes no sense. You can't challenge somebody
strange.
to a Money in the Bank match. It makes no sense. So he's like,
I
"Listen,
agree.
we can't challenge people to a Money in the Bank match." Also, Money in the Bank is one of WWE's most watched pay-per-views. It's also one of their pay-per-views that they have decided to get, really big stadiums for. They literally rent out football stadiums or baseball fields to have, more extended crowd. So it makes no sense for them to get rid of those pay-per-views, but I love what he's doing. I love the idea of everything, how, hey, we're having Extreme Rules, so every match is going to be extreme. Like, hey, we're having Hell in a Cell, so instead of having one Hell in a Cell match, we're going to have two, maybe three, and they're going to be fantastic. Like just now, this Hell in a Cell, I'm pretty sure we had that weird, crazy cage match. I don't remember what it was, but it was
Huh?
at the Hell in a Cell just now. That weird cage. Remember Matt Riddle jumped off?
No, that was at Extreme Rules. That was
That
the
was
MMA
the
type,
fight. Yeah, the fight
the
cage, or
fight
whatever
pit,
you want to call it.
fight
Fight
pit,
pit. Yeah, yeah.
fight pit.
But I love what he's doing with the pay-per-views. If you guys want to elaborate on that, what you guys think, because I always thought that, like, why do we have Extreme Rules, TLC? Now we have to wait a whole year in order for somebody to have one of these matches.
Right. Honestly, I love the idea of taking away the Money in the Bank, and I believe that he's putting it back with the WrestleMania again.
No, he's not.
Oh well, that was completely debunked. It was somebody said he said that, but he didn't say that. What he said was,
Okay.
we're not taking it away. It's one of our biggest pay-per-views that we get big stadiums
Right.
for.
Right. Well, I mean, I like having a Money in the Bank pay per view, but I mean, taking it away and putting it back with WrestleMania, I think would be the best thing to do. Honestly,
I
the reason
agree.
why is because the reason why I say that is because you're dedicating your whole entire pay per view. You're spending all this money. You're getting all these revenues to do all this for a 6-man ladder match, and it has nothing to do with because it's obviously the main event, so it has nothing to do with a title match at the main event. It's for a chance to win the title at a next event or in a random match, someone could go and cash it in. Don't get me wrong, I love Money in the Bank, But to make it its own pay-per-view, I mean, I didn't mind that idea, but I mean, taking it away also wouldn't be bad either.
There's nothing I miss more than during WrestleMania, somebody wins the Money in the Bank, and then you're like, oh my God, are they going to cash it in tonight in the main event? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like kind of what
Exactly.
happened with Liv Morgan with Ronda Rousey, where she cashed it in.
Right.
But like that excitement. And also this year, man, they took all the excitement away from Money in the Bank.
Yes.
The night of Money in the Bank, Liv Morgan cashed in, and then Austin Theory just kept failing, and then he cashed it in for the. Listen, I like what they're doing with the United States Championship right now, but shouldn't have cashed in a Money in the Bank for it. It's not that kind of championship. It
Right.
ruined our hopes and stuff for the story that they're going to do. I really thought that Sami Zayn was going to win it, and just be like putting them on edge all this time, and I thought that would be a great story for the Bloodline.
Right.
But with that being said, Frank, hi, you guys, Frank, Jason, you guys have anything to add on to this? Okay.
All right.
He'll probably join right back. But let's get to our next topic. Okay, here he is. Let's wait for him 1 second. Okay, here's a very funny thing to say, and it's two questions in one. Will Vince come back and ruin everything? Because there's rumors of him coming back right now. But when we come to think about it, did he ruin everything in the first place? Now, I'm going to start off with this real quick and say this to give you guys a little more information if you guys haven't heard. There is rumors and news that Vince McMahon is coming back, but the USA, Fox, and basically all the board members shut him down. They're like, hey, listen, you can't come. What's going on right now with you with all the press, the bad things. We don't want you back here because you're only going to make, problems. We're going to lose all our sponsorships. So with that being said, because he's so, stubborn of a person, I mean, when you grow up knowing somebody so much, we can say that we know him at this point. We grew up knowing everything about him, Frank?
Right.
So
for sure.
We know how stubborn-minded he is, and he's probably sitting down in his house right now, very angry, and like, oh man,
Right.
they think that Triple H is doing a good job. Well, I'm gonna go there and ruin it.
Right.
Walk in, make Roman Reigns lose the championship to Austin Theory, make even probably fire people like Kevin Owens or like
Fire.
you're fired. So
You're fired.
So what do you guys think? Will he come back, and will he ruin everything, or will he come back and maybe it's a backfire? Maybe he'll come back and do a good thing. Maybe we might get the TV-14 Attitude Era we've been asking for if he comes back,
Right.
which I highly doubt. But what do you guys say about the whole situation?
Honestly, if Vince McMahon was to come back, I'd say I'd probably stop watching it. Because
I
he
agree.
did great. Like I said earlier, he did a fantastic job throughout the years. But like I said, from 15 to 16 is when it started going down. And I stopped watching wrestling around that time. I did not like it whatsoever. So him coming back and running things again, I think it would just make the views, instead of them going up right now the way they are with Triple H, I think they just be dragging him right down. I think it would be a very bad idea, to be honest.
I agree. You have anything to add to this, Jason?
I think if he does come back, he wouldn't have that big of a job. Like, they wouldn't give him that much power to make big changes like that.
I agree, but the biggest problem is that right now he owns the most of WWE. He has like 80% of the shares of WWE are his.
Right.
So if he wants to shut down the company right now, I'm pretty sure he has the power to do that.
Really?
So
I
what
didn't
would you
know
say
that.
now, Jason?
I didn't know that he still has that much control over it. But if he does come back, I think he'll just switch everything around. He'll make everything back to normal when he was the owner. You understand me? Like how wrestling was last year.
Yeah. And
He'll
don't get
just
me
do
wrong,
that.
it was good. It was getting good last year. But like I said, there's too much of a difference from when Triple H took over. And it's a
Right.
great difference. And we can sit here and think like, okay, maybe there isn't that much different. But when you really, think about it, there's a lot different. It literally, Triple H changed the whole game. And with that being said,
I agree.
I think it's time for us to go to our next topic, which our next topic is dominant eras in WWE history, and kind of compare them to what we're seeing now. So to start it off, we're gonna go through. I'll give a brief, overrun of every era. Just a really brief, quick, how you say that, like overview,
Demonstration.
like a summary, and then you guys can right after I do that, you guys can give your guys' thoughts, whatever you guys have written down on each of these eras of what you guys thought were important, what was good. To start off, we have the golden era from 1982 to 93. Now, this is the reason why it's called the golden era. This is when WWE got its fame. It was just a random wrestling promotion, and now it blew up because of names like Hulk Hogan, because of names like Andre the Giant, because of like Ultimate Warrior. And it wasn't great for me, I'll be honest. When I go back and I watch it, it's like, how did this get famous? But then you watch movies in the 80s and you're like, oh, okay, I know why. So like, it wasn't that good for me, the golden era. I can't really go back and watch matches. I tried, I did watch WrestleMania 1, I watched WrestleMania 2, but I watched every WrestleMania at this point, but I don't know, it didn't really have it for me. Compared to everything else, it doesn't stand a chance. I'm sorry. To every era, even the next era. Go ahead, Frank.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. What you were saying?
Even the next era, the New Generation era, one of the best eras in WWE from 93 to 97. To 97, why did I say it like that? From 93 to 97. It speaks for itself. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, even like Sting, even let's even look at WCW standpoint. NWO taking over WCW. This era in wrestling was fantastic. These stars took it by storm, and it speaks for itself. The next era, greatest era in WWE history, Attitude Era,
better
97 to 2002. It will never be duplicated. Listen, I don't care if we get a new Attitude Era right now and they just go crazy and they have amazing teams, and here comes a new DX and new. Listen, you will never duplicate. Here's the reason why. Let me fix my chair. Hang on, because it'd be loud. Okay. Here's the reason why. Because of the stars we had, and forget about even the stars we had. We have great stars now too. Because of the time it was in. It was in the 90s. It wasn't that serious. Freedom of speech was a big deal. People didn't care what they said. They didn't care what you said on TV. You could make any kind of jokes you want. Now we got to watch the way we talk, even outside of our houses. We got to watch the way we talk to our own personal buddies on the phone. You understand what I mean? So, like, everything changed. The whole world has been completely changed. And it will never, ever be the same. You watch some of the clips from Attitude Era, and you're like, oh my God, how did they get away with saying that? Because it was in a time where it didn't matter.
The Attitude Era was so good. The reason why now what you're talking about is about the way you could say and do whatever you want around that time. That's when we got introduced to a man named Stone Cold Steve Austin in the Attitude Era. He was the king of the era. He was the biggest superstar at that time.
Yes, sir.
Even till today. Especially after he won against Bret Hart, I believe WrestleMania, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, no, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 16, and at WrestleMania 17 he fought The Rock, and then WrestleMania 18 he fought The Rock again. And
by 18, Bret Hart was gone. By 18, Bret Hart was gone.
So. Yeah,
right. But no, like I was saying, Stone Cold was in this era. He was, I wouldn't say he was officially brought in because obviously he was in before, but he wasn't as Stone Cold Steve Austin.
But this is when he got his attitude. I think that's why it was even called Attitude Era, because of his attitude. Exactly. Personal opinion. But go on.
The reason why they gave this, like you said, the Attitude Era was because of him. He had the talk, he had the mic skills, he had the move set. He had everything. You could have sit there and watch if he was the only person at that time in WWE, if he was the only superstar that they had, You could sit there and watch him wrestle himself with no problem. You could
Oh
sit
yeah.
there while he's making a statement on the microphone to himself, and it was still interesting because how good he is on the mic and how amazing he was. Whatever he would do was amazing. Even now, if you see him now, you're still going to be amazed because he was so good. The way after he would do all of his talking, after we do all of that, his promo, he would get two beers, smash them together, and start drinking them.
It was fantastic,
There was
and
nothing
even
better.
we can't even get the middle fingers anymore in this time, in this day and age.
Exactly.
You understand? So
Right.
it will never be the same.
It's that time was. I can't even say it was good in its own time because even watching it now, it's still amazing.
It's still amazing now. I still go on Peacock and I watch it right now. I started in '97, and right now I'm at around like '98 already, with like about a full year. I've been doing it slowly, but it's so interesting. It's
Exactly.
like the problem with the Attitude Era is when you rewatch it, it ruins wrestling today for you. Just
I
to see
agree.
how much better it was, how much better everything, even the commercials. Their commercials were amazing to watch.
Nothing funnier. You had great matches again in the Attitude Era. It was unforgettable because you had Shawn Michaels. Even though yes, he was with the New Generation era is when we first got introduced to him. But him, The Rock, Stone Cold,
Triple
Bret Hart,
H.
Triple H, The Undertaker, Kane. You had all these amazing wrestlers at one time in one business together. Now, I mean, when you watch wrestling, you want a comeback from someone. You're expecting a Stone Cold. You're expecting a Shawn Michaels. You're expecting a Kane. You're expecting The Undertaker, even though
You're
he
expecting
just got out.
everyone from that era. That era introduced everyone
Exactly.
you wait to see.
If by chance they was to bring every person back from that era to today, honestly, I think every other TV show and everything would completely go out of business because
I
that would be
agree.
the greatest thing to ever happen.
I agree.
And that's my opinion on the Attitude Era, how much I loved that era.
And I want to say something real quick, and I'll let Jason give us his thoughts on the Attitude Era. Uh, the way I would love for WWE to do, because it is a show. It's not anything. It's not reality. So what I want
Right.
them to do, personal opinion, is to revive the Attitude Era and give other people these characters roles. You understand what I mean? Like, okay, The
Yes.
Undertaker, but it's somebody else. I would love that. Even though
For
it might
sure.
be a little disrespectful, but I'm pretty sure Undertaker would be up for it. I'm pretty sure. And then
Yeah, I
something I wanted
agree.
to say about Shawn Michaels, and it doesn't make all the sense in the world. The New Generation Era is where we got him, right?
Yes.
And it's where he shined. That was his peak. But he still did a lot in the Attitude Era. You know what I think
Yes.
about when I think about that? Seth Rollins. We got Seth Rollins in the reality era, but I'm sorry, we got him in the PG era actually. Then
Right.
he shined in the reality era, and now he's kind of like dying down, but
Right.
he's still one of the greatest. You understand what I mean?
Of course.
Yes, listen, I mean, like, yeah, he was better then. He did much more then. Big championship matches, all that stuff, Money in the Bank cash-ins, things. But he's still the greatest of all time right now in where
Yes.
he's at. And that's kind of how I see Shawn Michaels. Watching it live back then is the same way watching Seth Rollins today.
I agree. Like the way you were saying, they was to put the new characters as the old characters, honestly, I'd say Damian Priest,
I love Damian Priest. I love Damian Priest, man.
fantastic. I would call him, even though him and Undertaker are not the same at all,
Not the
but
same at all. I
Damian,
agree.
yeah, but Damian Priest is towards that side of the dark and all that stuff. So
Oh, yeah.
I'd put him and the Undertaker around that same. Not. Don't get me wrong. Undertaker is the greatest of all time.
No, I know what
I'm
you're
not
talking about.
comparing them to each other. But I'd say if we was to do something like that, I'd say Damian Priest because we already do basically have a Stone Cold, Kevin Owens. Kevin
Oh, yeah.
Owens basically took over that
Stun everyone
role.
and leave.
Exactly. He's great at it. Is he better than Stone Cold? No, but he's
No
doing
way.
a hell damn good job at it.
Hey, listen, my favorite active roster superstar, Kevin Owens.
Yeah, he was
All
very
day.
good.
Listen,
Very,
when he
very
first debuted, I was like, who the heck is this? What is this guy? What is he going to do?
Right.
This is corny. Why is he here? And then I seen him fight. I was like, okay, now I know why he's
Right.
here. And how you have anything to add on the Attitude Era before we move on to Ruthless Aggression Era?
No. Yeah, it's great. It's a lot of superstars came out of it, but I really don't have nothing to say about it. It's not my era. No, I can't really give you opinion on it.
Well, let's move on to my and Frank's era that we literally grew up on. I started watching
Yes.
wrestling myself in 2001, but in
Yes, so
2002, Ruthless Aggression started. And
Yes.
listen, Attitude Era, it was the greatest, it'll never be duplicated. But there was just something about Ruthless Aggression Era. Like when I think about Raw, when I think about SmackDown, the first thing that comes to my head is the fist and the weird little flamey thingies on Raw.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
like, I can't think of anything else whenever I think of that. But the fist and the little thing, it was so good. And even their worst stars would be good in today's active roster.
Exactly.
Look, yes, I mean, we got Hall of Famers, legends never to be duplicated in Attitude Era. But man, did we get some good wrestlers in Ruthless Aggression. Man, do we have some good... let's think about who we got in Ruthless Aggression. You ready, Frank? It wasn't a new guy, but it was a new character. The Undertaker, American Badass. Well, actually, Big Evil, because he was already American Badass in 2000. We got Brock Lesnar. We got
Kurt
Batista.
Angle.
Kurt Angle. Well, Kurt Angle was big in Attitude Era, too. We got Randy Orton. We got
John Cena.
John
Cena's debut. His debut was...
Exactly. His debut was amazing. Exactly. Against Kurt Angle.
Even though he was already in WWE, but he became a star in Ruthless Aggression Era, JBL.
JBL, yes, JBL's rise. Big Show's rise. Big Show's reign of terror. How about we got the debut to WWE because he was in WCW of Rey Mysterio.
Yes.
Even the tag teams. Like, think about Paul London and Brian Kendrick. I mean, now they're kind of like nothing, but it was great to watch back then. There was a guy, I don't know if anybody remember him, Ultimo Dragon.
Oh my God.
He was only in for a little bit though. He only had like 6 matches.
But
no, he had a good yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe, yeah, I think you're right.
He only had a few matches on SmackDown. He was mostly on Velocity.
The thing is with Ultimo Dragon, it's like how could I put this? Am I gonna say that he was a top wrestler? No, he was actually one of the lowest. And he would come out, and you would love to see him fight. And even like today, if you see the like who would you say is the lowest wrestler in the grades today?
The lowest wrestler in the grades today would have to be
Abdallah.
Coming to my mind right. I was thinking about Top Dollar right now too. Yeah.
Him.
I guess you could say Top Dollar. Yeah, why not?
Well, you like watching Top Dollar. You like watching him fight.
I do.
It's me personally. I can't. Like last night, I was trying to skip it so much because I did not want to watch the fight at all because it was very sloppy. Him trying to jump over those ropes, it's not interesting for me.
Top Dollar. He's a big star, but he's not that good, right?
Right.
You could say he's a big star in WWE right now. He's famous.
He basically is. Yeah, he's famous.
Billy Kidman, he was a low tier star, but he's one of the best in ring wrestlers.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing.
How about like if we're talking about like people like that, guys? Somebody I grew up, despising. I hated him, and now that I watch back, wow, D'Lo Brown was one of the greatest wrestlers in the ring. What was the name of that movie again? The Canadian Neckbreaker or something like that. The crazy backflip powerbomb.
Yeah.
Like if we're talking
about when he used to run him with the powerbomb.
Yes, the running powerbomb. One of the greatest. If he didn't do that whole incident with what's his name? Drax was his name or Droves.
Yeah.
If he didn't do that crazy incident with him, he probably would have still been a big star today. He wasn't that big of a star then, but man, did he have the potential. He had the potential.
Big mid-carder.
I wish we would have seen a belt around his waist, to be honest.
Right.
Are you guys ready to? Oh well, actually, no. Wait a minute. I want to stay in.
I want to stay in here for a
because it went a long time. It went from 02 to 08, And there's so much to talk about. We even got CM Punk to debut in ECW.
Listen, CM Punk, one of the greats. He is actually one of my favorites. I top dog, honestly.
But right now,
right now it's I won't even watch AEW to see him.
If he comes out, if he comes out of Royal Rumble, I'm gonna be booing him. I don't want to see him. I'm good.
Yeah,
I don't like the corny character. I love everybody. No, the only reason we liked you is because you hated us. That's the only reason why we liked you. CM Punk.
Exactly. We loved to hate you.
Exactly.
That's what it was with CM Punk. But with the Ruthless Aggression era, it was from 02 to 08, correct? You said?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You had maybe he wasn't the best. He was very sloppy. You had the Great Khali. He was a big guy at that time. You had
it was cool to watch.
Rivalry with him.
Corny fighter, but really cool to watch.
Of course, you had the rivalry with him and Kane because there was the two big guys around that time. You also had, if you remember, one of my favorite tag teams ever, Big Show and Kane. I loved them.
I loved it. The Raw Monsters. Oh my god! And Big Show was so big then. He was like 500 pounds at the point.
Yes, he was. That team back then was amazing. But you had so many good wrestlers come out of the Ruthless Aggression era that we still have today, or maybe we don't. I haven't been keeping up that much with today, but like Randy Orton, he was the youngest world heavyweight champion.
Yes, he was.
And that match that he had winning that title, I believe he won it from Chris Benoit, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, he won
at SummerSlam.
Yeah, Chris Benoit, SummerSlam. Wow. Then you had Evolution. Oh my goodness. Evolution was amazing.
My God, what a faction, man. Woo.
One of the best.
Woo.
One of the best. The second you would hear their theme song play, if you're at home, if you're at the arena itself, you would just start losing it because me personally, I would lose it because it's just amazing.
Oh, can I get you jealous? Really jealous real quick?
Go ahead.
Me and Maddie, my cousin, went 2018 to SmackDown 1000.
SmackDown 1000. I was there too. Yeah.
And they came
Edge
out.
came. Evolution.
Fantastic. But Evolution came out with the song and everything with the suits. Awesome. So go on, Frank. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but like I said, you had Evolution. A lot of people compare Evolution with NWO. Honestly, NWO was great. I didn't care for them, to be honest.
That's the craziest stat I ever heard in my life.
The reason why I say that I didn't care for it was because there was so many people in the NWO. They was basically almost going against one person every week.
True, and it was Goldberg. WWE kind of had the same thing with the ministry and corporation. Then it became the corporate ministry, and it was literally everybody was in it. So I do agree with you at that point. You're right.
It was too many people, honestly, on a team like that. Like, let's go with. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself by going the era and an extra era up.
Hey, it's fine if you want to talk about a certain topic.
Right. With like Nexus. Like, I believe there was 8 people, 9 people in one group. And am I saying that it was too many? No, I think it was enough. Because if they would add any more people to that group, to that team, I think they'd be overdoing it because we have a lot more wrestlers today. We have a lot more wrestlers around that time when Nexus came in. But I mean, like NWO, there was like so many people in it that there was no one to fight. It was the same storyline every single week.
I agree with that. You know what the sad part is, because you bring up Nexus, and I love Nexus. The sad part about Nexus was only one big superstar came out of it. Daniel Bryan.
And he really wasn't in. They took him out the first time coming on the main roster.
Exactly.
Well, the reason why they took him out was because
he choked Justin Roberts.
Exactly.
He choked Justin Roberts?
You never seen the video?
No.
He was doing his submission.
Yes lock.
His yes lock. And instead of using his hands, he had his tie, Justin Roberts' tie, and he choked him so bad you see Justin Roberts trying to move it.
He really choked him.
I gotta watch that.
He got choked really bad. I think they even suspended him for like a couple of weeks too for doing that because he went too serious with that.
They said you could do whatever you want, just don't hurt anyone.
Right.
and he choked out Justin Roberts.
I'll tell you who I really wanted to see become a very big superstar. Wade Barrett. I really wanted them to see. I really wanted to see him because you see when he would lift up the elbow pad and then hit them with the elbow. I loved Wade Barrett. I loved his End of Day. Was it called End of Days or Wasteland? Wasteland.
No,
I loved Wasteland. End of Days was his theme song.
The elbow.
Yeah, and it was his theme song too. Was End of Days, and I loved Wade Barrett. I loved his theme song. I'll be your end of days. You guys remember the theme song now?
Yeah.
So that song, and then I really wanted him to be a big star. And even The Undertaker wanted him to be a big star too. The Undertaker wanted him to end the streak. I don't know if you guys know that.
WrestleMania 27.
Yes, he wanted him to end the streak, and Wade Barrett didn't want to do it. He got cold feet, and then he decided to do it, and then everyone else was like, "No, we're not going to do that. It's too big of a part for you to do." You understand? But Undertaker really wanted it to be done. But moving on. Also, fun fact about Nexus. David Otunga was in She-Hulk. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, I guess because he's a lawyer. He's an actual lawyer. Yeah. He really is a lawyer. And the funny thing is, he used to advertise him being a lawyer on WWE. It was hilarious.
But you know who's like your Wade Barrett for me?
Okay.
You wish became a big star? Umaga, my favorite. I always wish he was a big star my whole life.
Or he became a big star and he died.
No, he got cut before he became a big star.
You're right.
They cutted him. He died a couple months later. They cutted him, and then he died about 6 months later.
You know who really should have been a really big star, and they prolonged him so much with the Triple H feud? Vladimir Kozlov.
Yes.
No, he was.
He would have been. I'll tell you what he could have been. You ready? Because he couldn't have been a big star. I don't feel it. But he could have been like a Gunther. Same time.
Yeah.
Let's go.
He
could have been like a Gunther. But back to Wade Barrett. If I became the owner of WWE right now and you ask me, what's the first thing you want to do? Wade Barrett, get off that announce table and win the WWE championship. Like, that's how much I love Wade Barrett. I want him to have every championship. I think he's a fantastic wrestler, fantastic on the mic, but they ruined his character with Bad News Barrett. I don't care what any of you guys say. I hated Bad News Barrett. I got some bad news.
I liked it Bad News.
I didn't like it. It's not his character.
King Barrett. King Barrett was good.
I'll tell you two people that I always wanted to be big in WWE. Number one, like I said, Wade Barrett. Number two, Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes finally did it. Can't wait for a Rumble. I know he's going to return. But moving on to the worst era in WWE history of all time. And let's talk about why they did this, first of all. You see, Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression were both TV-14. Which meant that they could have blood. Herbs. They could have dropped one F-bomb, even though they hardly did. They could have cursed. They could have, even like explicit things they could have shown, with women and stuff like that. You understand what I mean? And they would do these things, and they couldn't get away with it. But Linda McMahon, I don't know if you guys know this. I had to do my research a couple years ago.
Yeah, I know this. Yes.
Linda McMahon was about to be the president of the small business community. To be the president of the small business community, and then they found out, oh, wait a minute, this show got profanity in it. It's got all this stuff in it, and you are a part of it. You own it. You own some of this show. So if you want to do this, then you're going to have to sell the company. And Vince McMahon put it upon himself as like, hey, look, I'm not going to sell the company. What I'm going to do is make it PG. So he had a good mindset, At least it was something good. And, it changed. He made it PG, and it ruined everything. The second I heard it was becoming PG, I was like, oh no, this is going to be bad. And then when it really, became active, when you could have told, oh, this is PG in like 2009 to 2010, oh my God, it was terrible to watch. And a few notes I have here is like the era that ruined WWE for me. And it's true. It's what stopped me from watching. And a lot of other people too. These two people right here. I can completely stop watching during this era. But we did get a few good things out of it. We did, like NXT. Nexus we talked about. We got WrestleMania 24 out of it.
Yeah.
WrestleMania
My
24
favorite.
was amazing.
My favorite.
WrestleMania. Oh, by the way, guys, next week I want to talk about our favorite WrestleManias. Let's get back into it. We had WrestleMania 28, WrestleMania 29, WrestleMania 30. We got great WrestleManias.
Even
by the way,
31.
The PG era lasts from 2008 to 2014. So we got all these fantastic WrestleManias. We got great stars like Daniel Bryan. Like The Shield debuted in 2012 in the PG era. 3 top stars right now in WWE, and all of wrestling. Even in AEW with Dean Ambrose, John Moxley. We had a lot of good stars, but a lot of missed potential. Like think about it right now. If Jack Swagger, 'cause right now I know he's Jake Hager and he's pretty cool, but if Jack Swagger had the opportunity to be in a TV-14 wrestling, he would be so much better. But instead, they made him this fun, cool, goofy character. We the people. They had to make him cute and cool for the audience, and it ruined his character. There were so many characters that got ruined.
Yeah, he would have been like around that area. He would have been like a new Brock Lesnar.
Yes, or Kurt Angle. He had very much Kurt Angle potential.
Right, exactly. He had a lot of those potentials, and there was nothing that he could have done about it. Honestly, me personally, I loved the Jack Swagger. A lot of people didn't like him. I loved him.
I loved him.
The way he would
I
wrestle.
seen the potential in him.
Exactly. He had a lot of Kurt Angle and mixed with Brock Lesnar. He could have done so much, and there was nothing that he could do about it. If, like you said, if it was a PG-14, there would have been a lot more that could have been done.
And anything you want to add on it, High, before I go to the last point about the PG era?
Yeah, because this was the era I mostly grew up on.
Yeah, this is your era.
So I know. Yeah. Most I could go back, right, is WrestleMania like 25. That's the memory I got of wrestling. That's my first memory of wrestling. So this is mostly my era. So, it's not my favorite, but it's what I know the most. And there was a lot of things that came good out of it. Like what you said, NXT, Seth Rollins, The Shield.
Also, CM Punk's rise to fame,
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I have that in my notes, actually. My notes are of the Nexus, CM Punk, the rivalry and ambush of all of that with The Rock.
Even The Miz. Even The Miz became a big star.
Yes,
he
The Miz
did.
was
in
a
the
very big
PG
star.
era.
He did become a big star.
Go on, Jason.
But go on.
And
you take the floor. This is your era.
Yeah, this is all me right now.
All you.
We got a lot of new pay-per-views with it too. Extreme Rules, Money in the Bank, a lot of big pay-per-views. Elimination Chamber. So a lot of things did come good out of it. But did a lot of bad also come out of it too? Yeah. That's all I really want to see.
I would say some good came out of it, but every bad aspect of WWE right now came from there. Look, so you said, we got these big pay-per-views, yes. But I think those pay-per-views were a terrible decision. To take away Judgment Day, to take away Armageddon, and name it Hell in a Cell, to take away a Backlash, and now they bring it back, Backlash, but, like Judgment Day, Unforgiven, No Mercy, No Way Out, like all these really cool names of these pay-per-views, they threw them away to name the pay-per-views after the match type. I hated that. That's why I love Triple H's mindset of it.
No Way Out was still a thing for a long time though after.
Yes, but it was an Elimination Chamber.
It was. Yeah. If we also want to look back at it though, they started all those pay-per-views in 2009. If you watched the first pay-per-view of them, it was good. It was phenomenal. Even the first few of them.
Hey, we even got Edges.
Just now they started getting
Edges. We just went over to Ruthless Aggression and we didn't talk about Edge. What's wrong with us?
Yeah. Right.
Edge was the main guy, man. Rated R superstar. What are we talking about?
I agree.
But we also seen Edge become because we've seen Edge's ruthless side and the ruthless aggression, but we've seen his loving side in the PG area. We've seen
when he came
his
back in
ambition for the
2010.
company. We've seen that the love he had for it, and then also in the ruthless aggression. I'm sorry, in PG era, we see that amazing spear through the fiery table that he did to Mick Foley. The funny thing is, the whole time that was leading up to it, that was leading up to that match with Mick Foley, I was totally not for it.
Right.
I was like, man, I don't know, it was not going to be a good match, corny match. And then it was such a backfire, one of the best matches in WWE history, if you ask me. We need to talk about the worst thing. Maybe we don't even need to talk about it because it speaks for itself. The worst part of the PG era. The Muppet episode of Raw. Here's the thing. I stopped, real quick, I stopped watching wrestling in 2009, right? And then I started again from 2011 all the way up until 2014. So I seen the Muppets episode and I was watching live and man, it was just so bad. Go on, you guys were saying?
Yeah,
I was 6. I was a kid,
ahead,
so I liked it.
You loved it.
I was a baby. I was 6. So for me, I can't really have an opinion on that. For me, it was a fun, goofy episode.
Yeah, okay, we're talking about the reality era now. That's
yeah, we're just gonna go over that. We're just gonna pass that by.
The Muppets, I didn't even watch it. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Can I tell you how it ended, Frank? It was literally they took over the whole show, right? And the ending of it, Santino Marella was going against, I forgot who, but Santino Marella was in a match and he was losing the match. So here comes a Muppet and gives him like this green drink, and he drank it and spit it on the guy's face and won the match with it. I'm sorry, he didn't spit it on the guy's face. He drank it and I had like a superpower, and he beat the guy up and he won the match. Horrific. But let's go to the reality era now.
Yes, please.
2014 to 2016, and look, it wasn't great, but it was better than the PG era. It was a bigger difference. We've seen a little more aggression. We've seen a little more attitude back involved in the superstars. It wasn't more of a lovey-dovey kid show. Now it was more of a back to old school wrestling. We've seen big star changes for Daniel Bryan, for Seth Rollins, for Roman Reigns, for Dean Ambrose, for Kevin Owens, for Sami Zayn. We've seen NXT superstars debut in WWE after becoming amazing superstars.
We also got the New Day.
Yes, and these 2 years was literally 2 years of dominance. It was a fantastic 2 years. It was great. It was a lot of title changes and weird events too. Don't get me wrong, but it was good. It was really good. There's not much really to talk about if you guys have anything to share.
I like PG era better, though.
Okay, that's
fine.
It's just you won't be on here next week.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You guys count the PG era from 2011. I'm counting it as 2008, 2009, 2010. Those are all good years.
Yeah, I agree. They were good years. But just you've seen the dramatic change. Again, like we said, when you've seen the change from Vince McMahon to Triple H, you've seen the change. The second it became PG, you noticed it. You understand what I mean? Like, yes. You noticed it became PG. And I'll tell you guys something weird about me. I don't like and I'm the big, listen, these guys know me. I'm the biggest tech guy you'll ever meet. I love tech. I love fancy lights, cool lights, big gigantic screens. I don't like the big screens or anything in WWE. Can I tell you why? Because it makes it feel too colorful of a show. I want there to be one big Titantron in the middle and everything else is just, pitch black. That's what I want. Kind of like the Raw 2001, the 2000 Raw 1 stage, where it was just a big Titantron, the small little thing on the bottom that said WWF, and that's it. I thought that was pretty cool. So that's just a quick side note. If you guys have anything else to add on the reality era before we go to the new era, which was from 2016 to 2022, but go on, Frank.
The reality era, this was around the time I stopped watching wrestling. As you've seen, I said it earlier, Vince McMahon started making everything so bad around 15 and 16. I stopped watching it completely. Don't get me wrong. I believe we had AJ Styles come in around this time.
Yes. Yes, the
Yes,
Royal Rumble.
AJ Styles came in. AJ Styles was great. It was something that we've been waiting for
AJ
since a
Styles
long
was
time.
phenomenal.
Exactly, he was phenomenal.
You also
It
had
was
SmackDown in 2016. That was
well,
one of the
look.
greatest years for SmackDown.
That is
Yes,
true.
I agree. Everything was okay there. We also, like I said, we waited for AJ Styles to come in for a long time. Since when he was in TNA, we waited for him for a while. We didn't think that he would come in at all, and he made a shocking appearance, I believe,
I
at
would
Royal
I would
Rumble.
watch mostly
Yeah, it
all
was
of
Royal
his main
Rumble.
matches on TNA, even though I
Right.
was a devout WWE follower. You
Yes,
know, I made sure I would watch AJ Styles 'cause I love the guy. Him and
of
Samoa Joe.
course,
You know, I'm happy that they came to WWE.
I agree.
I was a
But I
big
mean,
fan of TNA. I
Me
used to
too.
watch it a lot.
that's when I really stopped watching it. 15, 16. And I stopped for a while, like a long time. Since are we done with this era? So I can say something.
Yes, we're done with this era.
Okay, well, I stopped watching it for those reasons, and since we're going into the new era now, our the other era that we're about to talk about, that's when I started watching it again, slowly, every now and then, like when we had the when Edge came back. Edge came back in
2020.
2020. Yeah, he
Yeah.
came back in 2020. Edge around that time was my favorite wrestler when he first came back in 2010.
Yeah.
Okay. Since then, I was a major fan of Edge, and after he had to leave because of that
Neck injury.
that neck injury, it was hurting for me. Why lie?
It was
It was very hurting for me because he was one
crushing.
of my favorites at the time, and now I don't have nothing to watch when he's not in there. Him coming back was amazing. I watch bits and pieces here and there, not every week. Maybe every couple of months, I'd start watching it for a week, stop. But with this new era, what I love about it so far is the Bloodline. Love the Bloodline. They're
Yes,
amazing.
yes, yes.
I love everything back to it again. I love what Triple H is doing with them. Whatever Triple H is doing with them is fantastic because
And hey, this is
when was
something
the
we
last
have to
time?
thank Vince McMahon for. He created the
Exactly.
bloodline, not Triple H. You
Exactly.
know,
Right. Well, what I'm saying is what he's doing with them is amazing.
exactly. I agree.
Triple H made them more interesting.
Yes, he did.
Right.
Yes, he did.
Uh, like the last time you seen a faction like this was with Evolution, and they had every title. They had everything. They had you had Triple H as the leader, which the tribal chief basically.
Yes,
You had you had Ric Flair. Ric Flair
he was the hype
was you
man.
could say exactly he was Iron
He was
Man. He
like,
was Jey Uso.
I would kind of say he's more like the Sami Zayn. You
Like
know,
Paul
even
Heyman.
though it's a two whole. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, he's like Paul Heyman.
Like Paul Heyman.
Yeah,
Right,
for sure.
Because
exactly.
he
For sure,
wouldn't
for
really
sure.
wrestle. He really
Yeah.
wouldn't wrestle. He was more a
Right.
manager.
You had Randy Orton. Randy Orton is basically like you. Well, I mean, he's not in right now, but I mean, he's still in. But he's like a part of the bloodline. Whatever Triple H is doing with him now, he's only recreating. I think he's recreating what he did with Evolution back then when
Yes,
Vince McMahon was
I
there with
agree.
him. And
I
I
agree.
love it. And I love exactly what they're doing. Everything that they're doing with it is perfect. Me personally, I don't think there's anything bad that's going on with them right now.
I agree. And you know, moving on to the next era, like you were saying, which was from 2016 to 2022, and it ended. We are in a different
Right.
era right now in WWE, which we'll get to it after. But
Right.
the 2016 to 2022 was great. You know, we had the end of Undertaker. You know, Undertaker retiring, which was very sad for me. My
Yes.
favorite WWE superstar of all time.
Yes.
Only got to see him like 2 or 3 times. Wish I got to see him more. But we've seen a lot of great matches, a lot of great things. Like you said, the rise of AJ Styles in that, you know,
Right.
him winning the champion. We had Finn Balor winning championships. We had Kevin
We had
Owens.
Kofi Mania.
Kofi Mania, exactly. Yes, yeah. Oh man, I forgot about that. Wow, I loved when Kofi went on that whole championship spree. We had the heel turn of Biggie Langston. You know, we had a lot of great things that happened from 2016 up until 2022, and also we also seen the death of WWE Network. You know, that's
Yes.
done, that's gone, but it's, you know, Peacock now. But it's weird to see that. And you know, do you know why they sold it out? I seen why the owner of well, Khan, what's his name? Not Tony Khan, but the other
Nick
Khan,
Khan.
Nick Khan
Nick Khan.
of WWE was like, oh, you know, NBC is making their own streaming service. So he offered them WWE Network. And they said, okay, like how much? He said $3 billion. Just to take a shot in the dark.
Wow.
And they agreed to it. And that's a problem. I'll tell you why it's a problem. Because Nick Khan is one of the biggest creative directors in WWE also. And here's the issue. He is very much big on the whole PG, you know, era. 'Cause we're still pretty much in the PG era right now. But he's very big on the PG aspect
Right.
of WWE. He's very much on the no blood, no you know, extreme matches and stuff. And that's a big problem. But moving on forward, you know, there's not much to really to talk about the 2016 to 2022. A lot happened. Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the whole COVID situation. And like we talked about
PC
earlier,
era.
like, what was that?
PC era.
Yeah, the Performance Center. Yeah, Thunderdome. It was great. I loved watching it. That's when I got back in. I got back in after I seen Undertaker versus AJ Styles in the Boneyard match. And that got me back in. You know, that really got me to get back involved. And I was watching it. I was like depressed because there's no crowd. But I was like, you know, this is pretty cool. Like, you know, we're seeing something that no one will get to live through. And we can tell our kids about it. Like, hey, I remember WWE so long, there was nobody in the crowd. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
exactly.
that's pretty cool. And if you guys want to talk about anything about this era before we go to our next era and our next topic, but if you guys want to add anything.
Honestly,
No, that's
I don't
really
think there's anything to add to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You said everything perfect.
Awesome. And then our next era, we just talked about it for about 40 minutes, is the post-Vince era. And we already say, you know, what we like about it, but let's talk about the future. Let's talk a little bit about the future of what we think is going to happen. You know, it's called the post-Vince era right now, but it'll probably change in the future, you know, probably get a little better name on it and stuff. But here's what I think, what I want to happen in the future, and I'll be honest, I want to see a lot more Bray Wyatt. I want to see a lot more of Roman Reigns keeping the championship reign. I want to see, you know, whoever comes against him, whoever he's going to face, we'll get into a little bit, we'll talk about the Bloodline, but whoever he's going to face, I want to see him win. I want to see Roman Reigns be the champion for longer than 2 or 3 years, I'll be honest. That's what I want to see. I want to see his reign go for a long time. And also, I don't see why the pun hasn't been used yet in WWE. Roman's reign should be pretty cool.
Right.
You know, but anyways, I feel, you know, I really feel like once he's done with his championship reign, I feel like he's done.
Think
You know,
so?
I feel like we won't see him for, yeah, he did say it too and stuff. I feel like we won't see him at least for another, if, you know, after the championship reign, we won't see him for another 4 or 5 years. That's my guess. 2, 3, maybe even 4 or 5 years.
I'll say take a year break.
Yeah, maybe I said way too long, 4 or 5 years.
5 years, I don't know.
That's too long, yeah.
You never know. I mean, sometimes a wrestler just wants to stay with their family. They want to do what they want to do with their family, and they don't have to deal with traveling every single day for the whole entire year and worry about this and worry about that. So honestly, him staying laid back for like a couple of years, I wouldn't be the worst thing. But do I want to see that happen? I don't want to see that happen because I honestly do love Roman Reigns. I love how he's been the champion since 800 and what now?
800. I'll look it up. But go on. You were saying?
Yeah, he's been the champion since like 800 and something days, and I love it. I love
839 days.
839 days, and I love the idea of it to the max because the last time you seen someone hold a title this long was when
John Cena holds it for 600 days, 700 days.
Exactly. But before that, you never had anyone besides Bruno Sammartino. Bruno Sammartino was way back. I believe Bruno Sammartino was in the golden era, correct?
He
Yes,
was actually
before,
the
even
second.
before.
He was the second WWE champion.
Yes,
Right. Yeah, and he held it for
9
16 years?
years, like
9
9
years.
years.
9 years. I'm sorry. The Great Moolah was 16 years.
yes,
I was getting a little off.
yes.
He held it for 9 years. That's a big achievement to hold something for so long.
It's crazy.
And I love what they're doing right now with Roman with the titles.
Can I tell you why
It's
I love what they're doing with Roman with the titles?
Go ahead.
When Undertaker's streak was active, every WrestleMania, you was at the edge of your seat. Listen, even when I stopped watching, I never stopped watching WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam,
Yes,
or
me too.
Elimination Chamber. I watched them
Me
every
too.
year. So every time it got to the point when Undertaker was fighting, you was on that edge. Is he going to defeat the streak?
Right.
Is the streak
Right.
going to be over? What's gonna happen? You're oh my god, he's gonna win 1, 2, and now you're waiting to hear 3, and then you don't hear it, and you're go, oh man, that was so close. And since Undertaker retired, we don't have that anymore.
Right.
But now we do with the Roman Reigns reign. You know, with the title
Right.
reign, it's like every match. Like I really, really thought that. Well, I didn't think it was going to happen, but during the match, I did was when Drew McIntyre was
Yeah.
went against Roman Reigns.
Clash
I
Castle.
thought I was like, oh my god, this is a problem. And you heard 1, 2, and then it's about to go 3, and then here comes Solo and pulls him out.
Right.
You know, so it's just we finally have that excitement back that I don't want it to leave. Imagine if Roman Reigns is the
Right.
champion for 5 years, let's say, and then
Oh my
somebody
goodness.
comes in and ends that streak. Fantastic.
For sure.
Oh, and now that we're talking about, or you know what? Let's go into our next topic.
Okay.
Are you guys ready
go
for the
ahead.
next topic?
I can't I waited all night for this topic. So.
Okay, okay. Will the bloodline collapse?
Yes.
Yes.
And if they are going to collapse, how would they collapse? I'm gonna let you start out, Frank.
Okay. After watching SmackDown last night, and I seen how they was in their promo, we haven't seen Roman Reigns or the Bloodline since War Games.
Well, we've seen the bloodline. We haven't seen Roman
Right,
Reigns.
the Bloodline was the Roman Reigns.
Roman.
Right. Roman with the Bloodline. I mean, I meant to
Yes,
say.
yes, yes.
Right. You haven't seen them. You haven't seen him since War Games, and he comes out, and it was supposed to be a big night for Sammy. He was supposed to take away the honorary Oos and making him an official Oos after that. And the problem was they was talking about Kevin Owens is their problem because he's on Sammy's neck too much, and if he's a problem for Sammy, then he's a problem for Roman Reigns, a problem for the Bloodline. So they ended up not doing that at all. Obviously, wrestling fans they already watched it. Just repeating for non-wrestling
Just
fans
giving.
or people that never watched it.
Yeah, exactly.
But the idea of it was Sammy was getting mad at that because, well, not getting mad, but a little frustrated because he wasn't getting, basically, you could say ordained as an official Oos.
Yeah,
Yeah, ordained as a Oos. And he was going on and saying because Kevin Owens is, I'm Kevin Owens' only friend. He made a little mistake there. So what I think, me personally, they are going to collapse. I don't want them to, but they are. How they're going to collapse, I'd say, is because of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens had this, I guess, this plan throughout the whole time, somewhat, maybe. And he's just making believe like he's going after them, Kevin Owens. He's making believe that he's going after them when really and truly this was their plan from the start to try and get the titles, try and get all this. And I love Sammy. I love him. He is a
Same.
perfect baby face right now.
I agree.
Basically, like what they did with Daniel Bryan, they're basically doing with him now. And I love the idea of it. I would love to see him as an official Oos. But I mean, we won't get to see that until I guess the 30th or anything after that of December. But they're gonna end and they're gonna collapse because of Kevin Owens and Sammy. They're gonna ruin something some way somehow. I'm not sure how, but they're gonna do that, and they're gonna make Roman Reigns lose the title to whoever he's gonna go against in the upcoming events.
Jason, you have anything to add on it?
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna collapse like that. I think Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a couple of months is gonna win the tag team titles from the Usos. And, Roman Reigns still has the champion, so it's not that big of a deal. And then at WrestleMania, he's gonna lose his champions. He's gonna try and win them back, but he's gonna be finished with the Usos and Sol Sequoia by, I'm gonna give you a date too, not a date but month, by July of 2023. That's when the Bloodline is finished.
I wouldn't even give it that long. The thing is, am I saying that Kevin Owens and Sammy's going after Roman's titles? No, not at all. But they're gonna Sami Zayn's definitely gonna mess him up some way somehow and make him lose the title, and Roman's gonna get mad at him and basically tell him that he's not an honorary Us no more, or he's not in the Bloodline no more. He's gonna try his hardest to get back in, but we all know Sami Zayn. Whenever he gets to that level of no one lets him do what he wants to do, like what happened with him and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens betrayed him. He's going to take this as Roman Reigns betrayed him, and he's going to try and go after the Bloodline as hard as he can to win the titles. I'd say that. I wouldn't say that long, though. I'd probably give it like a few months, maybe. I'd say around February or maybe even March. I wouldn't say July.
You give it before WrestleMania?
Yes, I do give it before WrestleMania. I'd say at the next premium live event. That was very weird for me to say, by the way. I don't like saying that.
Very hard to say.
Pay-per-view for me. Yeah.
What
is the next? What's the next pay-per-view?
Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble. I think that's when something's gonna happen. It's gonna start off from Royal Rumble where they're gonna start being at each other's necks. Honestly, I think that Jey Uso's gonna leave the Bloodline also. I think he's gonna leave completely.
No, I think it's gonna be Solo who leaves first.
No, I wouldn't say Solo. I'd say Jey for sure. The reason why I say Jey because he didn't like Sammy, but now he likes Sammy, and now Sammy's basically getting out of the Bloodline. Is going to cause controversy between Roman and Jey. Obviously, they're gonna be they always are at each other's throats, but this is gonna be a little bit worse, and I think that's when you're gonna see the end of the Bloodline right then and there.
I'll tell you everything that I think is going to happen and what I want to happen.
Okay.
What I think is going to happen is because all of the rumors behind the scenes of WWE right now is that it will be Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens at Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Right? So I think the way it's going to play out is the Bloodline will fight a match in Royal Rumble, for the champions, or the championships, and they're going to win, but they'll be badly injured. Solo Sikoa is going to fight somebody for one of their championships, like either Austin Theory or maybe Gunther, which will be an amazing match, right?
Right.
And he is going to be badly injured. So the only person that will come out with Roman, only two people, is Paul Heyman and Sami Zayn.
Yes.
And then now, the match is going great between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. Sami is constantly on Roman's side. And then something happens during the match where, it's a big part where Kevin Owens can almost win the match. All Sami Zayn would have to do is push Kevin out of the way or push Roman out of the way or just stand in the middle and take the damage himself. But as he goes to do it, he stops. And he thinks twice. Because Kevin's still his best friend. So...
Right.
Do I want to mess up my best friend from winning 2 championships and ending this big crazy streak? And he's not going to do it. He's going to jump down from the apron. He's going to walk away. And Kevin Owens is going to go 1, 2, and Roman Reigns is going to kick out. And then he's going to spear Kevin Owens, win the match, win his championships, and in the Bloodline will make make Sami Zayn's life a living hell.
Yes.
And Kevin Owens will be there every week to tell Sami, "I told you so." He's not going to step in and help him yet, but he's going to be telling him, "I told you so, I told you so, I told you so." And then he's going to feel bad for Sami, and he's going to retaliate. He's going to have vengeance. He's going to destroy the Bloodline. Him and Sami, two dudes, will destroy the Bloodline.
I could agree with that.
And they're going to take them out. And then now it sets up for Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. Right? This is what I want to happen. The match will go fantastic. Sami Zayn, rumors are going around saying he's going to win. Roman stands no chance. He's got, maybe he makes his own faction. Maybe he's got 2-3 people with him and Roman's solo. Roman's by himself. And now all this match is going on. And just out of nowhere, Roman Reigns gives him a spear and wins the match. And now everyone's shocked. And I can just see it in my eyes. Roman looking at the camera, laughing. And saying, like, you really think I was going to lose? You really think I would have lose to Sami Zayn? This time, like, I can see that happening in my eyes. So that's what I think is going to happen. Then the next pay-per-view, WrestleMania Backlash, will be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn taking on the Usos, taking the championship belts.
Very good.
And they're going to take them. Usos will be gone for a year. Roman Reigns will fight a match WrestleMania Backlash or whatever the plan is going to be. He's going to be out for 1 year. Right? That year will be Solo Sikoa's year.
Yes.
Right.
The Usos, we've seen what they can do. Roman, we've seen what he can do. This will be 2023, mark my words. 2023 going into 2024 will be Solo Sikoa's year. And he will be a main event WrestleMania 2024 in Philadelphia. That's my prediction. That's what's going to happen. But after that year, the Bloodline will reform. I feel like they're not going to be done for good. They're too good together. It makes all the sense for them to stay together. So every time Roman comes back, get ready for the Usos and Solo Sikoa to come back too.
Right.
And that is my outlook. That's your guys' outlook on what we think is going to happen. I think the Bloodline will be split up, but not actually split up, as in just Sami Zayn will leave, and then Solo Sikoa will go on his own reign because the Bloodline left, just under vacation and stuff. And I believe that'll happen within the next, 4 months.
Right. Now, I wanted to ask you this. What do you think about the Rock?
Well, before we talk about The Rock,
okay.
I want to leave that for next week.
Oh, you want to wait till next week?
Yes, because I want next week to be all about WrestleMania.
Okay.
We'll have a WrestleMania special, talk about WrestleMania. Our 3 points will be all on WrestleMania, and I want The Rock to be. I want that whole Rock situation to be part of that.
Okay, so you want to wait for next week to?
Yes, for sure.
Go with that. Okay.
Next week, all of our theories, all the rumors, everything. But with that being said, I'm done. If you guys want to add anything else, if not, we'll close this out.
No, I'm done.
Okay, guys.
There's nothing that I could say. It was fantastic.
I had an amazing time. I thought it went fantastic.
I loved it, every bit of it.
Yes, and if you guys like the video, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. There's nothing better than when you subscribe to a random account and then it just becomes big one day. So if you have faith in us that we're going to become big one day, like, comment, and subscribe, because you can be part of this. You can ask us questions. You can tell us, like, hey, look, I was a subscriber to you when you had 800 subscribers. And you know what? I'll respect you. We'll talk. We'll do. But if you have any questions, leave your questions in the comments or DM me on Instagram, because next week I would love to do some questions and answers. But if there's no questions, we can't answer anything. So if you can please leave us some questions. But again, like, comment, and subscribe. Also, my friend here, Frank, also has a YouTube channel called Late Night Mashups. And he does a lot of cool mashup songs. Does a fantastic job at it. If you guys want to check him out, like, comment, subscribe to him also. And how often do you post, Frank? How often do you have new?
I haven't posted in a while. I've been so busy with moving into my new pad and everything, and then Christmas and all that, so I haven't been able to make or post anything. But if you do have any ideas, you could either what you could do is you could go to my page, my channel, and you could just leave me some comments of what you want to hear together, and I can put it together for you, no problem.
Well, thank you guys very much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed because I definitely did. And you guys have a good night.